So some of you may remember, John may remember, Tim, late last year, Nathan gave a speech. He talked about meeting people and whether or not it's important to talk about what he did for a living. He wanted to talk about that. And it made me think of something I hadn't thought of in a long time. And that was many years ago, a lot of people thought I was a dentist. I've never been a dentist. So you may be wondering why people thought I was a dentist. It's because I told them I was a dentist. And this was not some kind of nefarious plot to build myself up or to try to look at people's mouths. I was actually at that time, I was actually a trader at the Board of Trade. And what would happen if I'd go to like a party and I'd meet somebody and they asked me what I did for a living? I'd say, I'm a trader at the Board of Trade. As soon as I said that, I started getting a lot of questions about, Mark, what's it like on the trading floor? What's it like being in all that craziness? Or they'd ask me, Mark, what's a hot tip? What should I invest in right now? And that was all fine as far as that went, but what would happen was that I found out that people would literally follow me around at a party. I like to circulate and meet people, but these people, they kept asking me more about trading, what was I doing, and I wanted to know everything about that trading life, and did people do drugs, just all these questions about trading. And you know, that was fine as far as it went, but it kind of occurred to me that I thought to myself, would these people even be interested in me if I wasn't a trader? If it was just Mark Williamson, the person, would they even care about, would they even be talking to me anymore? And I thought about that, and it just turned out about that time, during that time, there was a movie that had been out. It's a really funny movie. It stars Dudley Moore and Liza Minnelli. It's called Arthur. Has anyone seen Arthur? It's a really funny movie. Dudley Moore plays, he's in a very wealthy family. And he doesn't work. He's in his 30s. But he's very immature. He's an alcoholic, and he's really not very responsible. But he's good. He's a good heart. He's a good-hearted guy. He's a very lovable guy. And whenever he gets really tired of that real high-class life, those high-class problems of being, those expectations of being in a wealthy family, he'll just go to like a dive bar or a greasy spoon diner where no one in his family would ever go. And he meets these people, and he would tell them he was a dentist. And he would have these wonderful conversations with people in these diners or these dive bars just about life. And really wonderful conversations he would have. He wasn't this multi-billionaire. He was a dentist. I thought, that's pretty cool. I'm going to try that. So from then on, I'd go to a party and somebody asked me what I do, and John would say, what do you do? I'd say, I'm a dentist. That was pretty much the end of that conversation. I thought, this is cool. But that actually led to another problem. If I wasn't going to talk about what I did for a living, then what was I going to talk about? I wanted to talk about people really as a person, what was important to me. And I started thinking about what I would talk about if I wasn't going to talk about trading. And I thought about my grandfather. And I've never met anyone in my life like my grandfather. He loved people. He had just genuine interest in people. When he met you, he'd ask you, John, where are you from? Or Ken, where are you going? And he'd say, oh yeah, I've been to a restaurant there called Whitey's. You ever been there? And he would just, the way he would engage people and draw people in, he was so interested in other people. He would ask questions about them. He would talk about them. And people loved him. And I can remember, I'd see my grandfather do this so many times. When he'd meet somebody, I would just stand back in awe and watch him as he would engage people, just draw people in. By the time you were through talking with my grandfather, you thought you just met your newest, bestest friend. It just amazed me how he had that kind of relationship with people. He was just an average guy. He was a farmer when my dad was growing up, and he drove, when I was growing up, he drove fuel oil trucks and delivered fuel oil to people's homes. So he's just a regular guy, but when he died, people said that he had the biggest funeral ever in my hometown. Just a regular guy. People loved him. He just loved people, and people loved him. So my goal is not in life is not to have the biggest funeral, but I would love to have that kind of connection my grandfather had with people, the way he drew people in. Some of you know the famous poet that died last year, Maya Angelou, and one of her famous sayings was, "People will forget what you did, people forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And I've really taken that to heart. And in this new year, why not make it a goal to get more engaged with more people? And how do you do that? And really, it's just really three things. And that is, one is become genuinely interested in other people. Second thing is ask questions. Ask questions. And then the third thing is talk about them and not you. So you don't end up being like talking about trading all the time. And if you really want to do something adventurous in this new year, just say hello to someone you don't know.